I'm Eduardo Villavicencio from Dimension Data, and I'm here to talk about the Technology Lifecycle Management, or TLM as we know it. TLM is a discipline, and I say it's a discipline because it requires commitment from both the partner and the client. If there will be investment of time, and if we're not committed to it, we will not be able to accomplish the goals. What we're trying to do here with the TLM is establish a migration path or a strategy for us to go from no control whatsoever sourcing to a strategic sourcing. Okay, so going from the Excel spreadsheets through some discovery tools, then have all that information and have accountability on the information, be able to analyze the information, and then come back with recommendations around how to reduce costs and how to reduce risk, keeping in mind that those two have to be one next to the other. They have to be balanced. Okay, the TLM objective is to come back with a strategy for procuring, maintaining, and retiring assets. Also, for us to be able to extend the life of an asset, because decommissioning an asset from the core can somehow be an asset that can be repurposed for the access layer, for a different branch or a different location. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to throw it away. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're repurposing the gear, extending the life of the asset, and that way avoid unnecessary expenses on hardware, for instance. The TLM includes innovation. Why? Because we're going to keep in mind all the different variables that we had for new technology, all the new technology that's out there. We're going to evaluate it, make sure that it makes sense on the business to deploy, and if it does, then we're going to come back with a plan for us to deploy it on the network and have an up-to-date or up-to-speed network. Second, we need to evaluate productivity. What's behind evaluating productivity? We're going to be trying to reduce costs, or at the end of the day, we're going to be able to reduce costs. We're going to have to keep in mind what are the goals for the office, the bottom line for the client. That will be delivering the same SLA, the same level of service, the same performance at the end, and we cannot impact that. So we have to reduce costs, and that will be increasing the productivity for sure. Then stability. We need to deploy, or we need to present a long-term strategy. A strategy that's going to change from one day to the other doesn't make sense. It's not a strategy at all. So we have to make a long-term strategy, keeping in mind that the main objective from the client is having no downtime whatsoever. So we need to have a long-term clear path to follow. Some of the variables that we will be evaluating during the engagement will be the status of the assets, ownership of the assets, if that's a lease or that's owned by the company, that's a lease, what's the total cost of ownership for that particular asset, who's responsible for managing the assets, what's the impact of the downtime of that particular item, what's the utilization of the asset. Okay, all those variables, again, we're going to be measuring during the assessment, and then we're going to come back with recommendations based on what we found. Some of the benefits for the client will be tracking hardware, tracking inventory, managing inventory, being able to identify theft or loss. Perhaps there are some gear that you were expecting for it to be deployed, turns out that it's not, and who knows, it might be lost or stolen. You will be able to reduce maintenance costs because you will be able to analyze criticality of the items and then play with the coverage that you can select for one or the other. Okay, depending that's on the core, that's on the access, that will depend on the business impact that each item will have. Then you can also increase the utilization of warranty services. For instance, the Cisco switches, they come with lifetime warranty. And if you're okay with an SLA that is best effort, that can take up to 14 days for a particular item, then you're better off just taking advantage of the warranty. At the end of the day, you're already enjoying that service from Cisco. There's no need for you to spend more money if you don't need to spend more money. On the core, you will not be able to do that because you need 24/7/4, but on the access or on small remote branches, you can definitely take advantage of that. Okay. The other good thing that you will get from the TLM will be some ammunition that you will get for surviving some audits. So you will have reports, you will have compliance reports at some point that you have to deliver for the audits, and the TLM will help you with some of that information. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's all you need for a compliance report, but that will definitely be information that you can use as ammunition to survive those audits. The other thing is you have to focus on preparing for the future here. Before, it was IT directing the way the network was supposed to be deployed. Today, it's actually the users asking for an iPhone to be a business tool, which was not the initial intended use for it. And guess what? The IT manager had to deal with it, and they had to make it a business tool at the end. What Dimension Data can do for you at this point, we have two offerings. We have TLM Express and we have TLM Full. both offer executive summaries, they both offer prioritized recommendation. They will offer Excel spreadsheet with the information on the assets discovered and the maintenance and coverage on each one of those. Now, the main difference between the Express and the Full will be that the Full will give you additional information on each particular item. It will give you best practices evaluation of the configuration of each and single router switch firewall that we find out there. So if we find a router, we'll make sure that it was properly configured, and it was an engineer at 2 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday working on it and he left something out, we want to make sure that we can come back and correct that so you're not exposed. So there are a few other things that we can talk about TLM, but I just ran out of time. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.